Hope you had an initial networking session in the social lounges. We start with our first session today. Quick introduction. My name is Amran Mendes. I'm your host. I'm a B2B marketer with Kianda Technologies. We are a no-code business process automation platform based in Dublin. Now, in another life, I used to be an entrepreneur. I used to run an agency, successfully exited one, had a couple of failures, worked with a lot of B2B and B2C brands, and that's what kind of brings me here. One of the things that I like is to bring people together, and being a marketer, and of course, given the pandemic situation, there's very little opportunities for that. So I wanted to create a community where B2B marketers could come together, share insights, and of course, network. That's the most important part of this event. So idea is to keep having a monthly meetup once a month. Well, we begin online, but hopefully we can take it offline in months to come. All right, so before we get on to the session itself, what I want to do is there are two polls that I've published. So just a quick house call just to understand who all is in here. So, just go and head on to the event polls, participate in both the polls published. The first poll kind of gives you a description of your role. Are you a student? Are you a marketing professional, etc.? The second poll kind of gives an indication about the kind of tools you use. So do ensure that you participate in both the polls. All right, so moving on, the session. So when I initially planned the session, the idea was to talk about 5 marketing automation tools that you should use. But as I started researching and penning down ideas, there was more. And I thought, why not? So it's now 5 plus marketing automation tools. So the couple of the initial ones are kind of basic and stuff that you might already be using. So I might run through the first 2 of them, and then we'll get into more. So the first one is, of course, a CRM. So if you're an entrepreneur or a B2B marketer, if you're talking about marketing automation, it is virtually impossible to do without a CRM. Now, you could be using any CRM. The favorite seems to be the HubSpot when it comes to CRMs. But there's a lot of versions or different CRMs that are out there that can do a similar job. Now, for me, I like to show you something that I use. It's called Agile CRM. So irrespective of which CRM you use, what is important is that it lets you kind of automate the workflow or any marketing activity you do. So for example, what I'm showing here is how I automate my email campaigns using Agile. So you start the campaign, send an email, so you can set up what the email is here, how it's going, what the subject, etc. And let's say if you want to create a different flow, all you need to do is just connect these dots. If the person has opened it, what to do. If they've not opened it, let's say wait for, you can say 2 days and do the next action. If they've opened, see whether they've clicked. If they've clicked, give them a score. Now, this is something that I find very interesting, which is to score your leads. So ensure whatever CRM you use kind of enables you to do these kind of sequences of workflow automation. Now, for HubSpot, I know it comes in a premium plan, which kind of starts at 800 euros onwards. So like I said, it's your call what CRM you want to use, but ensure it has workflow and sequences automation within it. The next one, again, is something that you might be already using, which is Zapier and Integromat. Now, I've used Zapier in terms of the kind of things that you can do with it. But if I am to discuss that, that's going to be a session on its own. But in case you're not familiar with what Zapier does, Zapier kind of helps you to connect different platforms. So let's say if one activity happens in LinkedIn, post this on Teams or post this on Slack or on Outlook. If a Twitter update is happening, post accordingly on LinkedIn. So it kind of helps you connect these things. And same goes for Integromat. So both these tools are amazing stuff that lets you automate a lot of your daily tasks. So if you don't already use this, check it out. It's a must-have when it comes to marketing automation. All right, so these two are kind of basic stuff which most of you are or might be familiar with. The next one that I personally like and I use a lot these days is Phantom Buster. Now, Phantom Buster lets you do a lot of automation, in terms of your day-to-day tasks. Now, I use it extensively. So it has a free and a paid version as well. So kind of things that you can run, you can automate LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook even for certain things. I use it extensively for LinkedIn. In fact, this particular event that you're part of, I promoted it using one of the automation here. So where is it? LinkedIn event. Or if you want to scrape data from other websites. So if you want to scrape data from Google Maps or from other website, these kind of helps you to do that as well. Again, or to grow your LinkedIn. So I use it extensively again to automate my LinkedIn invites. So a lot of things that you can do with it. You can even automate a couple of Instagram tasks. For example, auto follow or auto liker if you want to, if you don't have time to follow the folks you want to follow, or like them, or even comment. So a lot of things that we can do within Phantom Buster as well. Now, following the session will be Connor, who is going to be talking about another similar tool, which I'm also looking forward to listen to in terms of how handy it can be. But otherwise, Phantom Buster is something that kinds of lets you do a lot of amazing things. Now, if I'm to talk particularly about this event, so I did say that, I kind of automated the invite process. So let me show you how, in terms of the stats around it. So let's say if I'm to look at my attendees, I had invited around 404 people in the last 10 days using that automation. And of course, out of that, 331 people RSVP'd. So for a 10-day activity, not bad. And no money spent, no much time spent. It all happens on its own. I've also used it for lead generation, in the past, and even for my current work as well. So it's pretty handy. But since Connor is going to talk about something similar, I'll leave to him to explain more about generating leads through this kind of automation. So moving on, the next thing that I like is Lemlist. Now, Lemlist might come across this tool for cold emails outreach, which it is. Of course, it lets you do a lot of amazing things around sending cold emails and personalization around that. But I also find it interesting in different aspects of it in terms of automating your multi-channel sequences. So for example, I'm going to show this here now. I'm going to share my screen. So let's say, most of the cold email outreach, it's multi-channel, as in you have to send email, you have to contact them on LinkedIn. Again, you can do the same thing on Zapier or Instagram as well. This is me being lazy with Lemlist, I would say. So let's say the first step is, you want to visit the LinkedIn profile from your account to the lead, and then send them another email. Then connect with that prospect on LinkedIn. So first one is view, second one is connect. Also, if you want to send a lot of amazing email aspirations, as in they have a lot of templates where you can customize and does personalization images as well. So really interesting tool, Lemlist there. It's a must check out if you do a lot of cold email outreaches as well, and it kind of lets you automate multi-channel. So that's what is interesting for me within Lemlist. All right, so guys, if you have any questions, please put them on the questions or put on the chat there. I'll be happy to answer them as we continue this conversation. The next one, my favorite, is Later. Now, this is more of a social media automation. Now, I'm sure you have your own favorite pick, and there's a lot of amazing tools when it comes to social media automation. But why I love Later is the part that the whole process is very visual. So if I'm to, I can connect all my channels, let's say LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and even Pinterest and TikTok. And then let's say if I want to share or schedule something, I drag and drop here the image. I put my text. I can even save my hashtags and the likes of that. So a lot of interesting things you can do there. But for me, I think the most important highlight, none of those, I would say. It's mostly the features around how you can wish what you're up to. So for example, if I hit preview here, it kind of shows how the content flow will look from an Instagram perspective, and you can replan or drag and drop from this itself. So this is what I feel I like personally from using Later. All right. So again, is there something similar that you found which is much more useful than Later? Leave that as a link on the chat as well. All right, moving forward, the next one is EC Webinar. Now, I think we are in a world of webinars, and producing content and actually doing webinars is a lot of effort. Now, I found EC Webinar as a way to kind of hack this whole thing, as in, if you're kind of lazy like me in that way, this is for you. So what Easy Webinar lets you do is that it kind of lets you automate the webinar process, which means, let's say you do the webinar once, you record it, and then you can set automated webinars as a pre-recorded video. And it can be like a recurring event. So you can do it, let's say, every day or specific dates in a week, and a start time, which can be specified by time zone and all that. And then what will happen is publish that event. And what happens, this is again a dummy testing, but you can create a landing page that's better. So let's say, as you can see, when I pick the date, it will show the next two options, and then I can register and go on. What I'm trying to show here is in terms of automating the whole webinar flow. So if you're someone, for whom webinars are like the mainstream of generating leads, and I've tried this for my own training purposes, where, I used to do maybe 2 webinars a month, like on Real, but then these amplify that in the sense it looked like I'm doing 8 webinars a month and not 2. But what people don't realize is the other 6 are pre-recorded ones. So it's really interesting that way, and it kind of automates the whole step. So check it out if that's kind of your cup of tea in terms of automating the whole process. The next one, and possibly the last one for today's list, is Collect Chat. Now, if you're someone who, again, I'm sure you're all familiar with chatbots. So I find this one tool that kind of automates, again, the whole process of creating that automated process. So let's say, for example, this is the kind of builder from it. Yeah. So based on users' reply, you can branch into different options. So for example, again, this is a free. You can, based on logic, jump into different answers. And the interesting thing is, can be used not for a live chat, but an automated tool chat. And it also can be created to, create interesting landing pages. For example, this particular landing page is something I used to use long back during my consulting days. So for example, this, okay, let's do this. So it looks like someone is sitting and, typing, but in reality it's all automated, but it looks like it's a live thing. So all this can be built using Collect Chat, like book a meeting. So if you want to create a landing page like this, or you want to embed this as a chat within your website, it kind of lets you do that. So Collect Chat is one way of doing it. There's another similar tool called Chatwood, which kinds of lets you to do same thing, enable you to do live chat as well. So a combination of both. So this is something I would say most of the marketers would find handy. All right, so we have 1 more minute here. So that's it from in terms of tools. So quick question, which one would you try first? So put in the chat there, which of the 5 tools did you like among the 5? Or among the 7 we discussed today. The next session is going to start soon, but maybe I'll take 5 minutes of time for Q&A if you have any questions. Otherwise, the next session is Connor. He's going to talk about LinkedIn lead flow secrets. So how to automate your LinkedIn lead generation using a tool. So Connor is going to talk about that. But yes, if you have any quick questions now, please drop them on the question section or on the chat. All right. So I hope that was some way useful. So I don't see if yes. Phantom Buster, yeah, that's something I use extensively a lot in my automation. And the next speaker, Connor, will also be introducing an alternative to Phantom Buster. I'm also waiting to listen to how it can be used for lead generation. All right, any other quick question, folks, of what I discussed around the 6 or 7 tools that we discussed today. Quick reminder, please ensure you also participate in those polls. You will find them on the event polls category. There are 2 of them that's published. It kind of helps us to understand the audience and the kind of topics we want to lead this conversation. All right, so the idea is we want to keep doing this once a month, preferably last Wednesdays of a month. That is the plan any which way. So we want to have more speakers. So if you want to pitch in a session, please write to me as well. And if you want to nominate a speaker, the same. And also get involved with the organizing part. I could use help. In terms of the tools, of course, this session is all pre-recorded. So I'm going to send you the videos, and of course, the list of the tools can be shared as well. But yeah, if no other questions, we'll jump into Connor. Connor, I hope is right now. Just also quick note, there'll be more time for networking after Connor's session as well. I know some of you was just AirMeet as well. In fact, if you have, is someone from AirMeet here? I saw an RSVP for someone from AirMeet who had been part of the event. Not very sure about that. But yeah, these are the new norm in terms of online networking. Good way to meet people in the events. Otherwise, you would normally bump into each other or a coffee in one of these meetups. Anyway, all right. So I hope there's no questions from that discussion. Connor, if you are in right away, the next session is from Connor. After that, we'll have a few more minutes for networking before we break for this day. All right. So let's